Hi guys. So I'm going to attempt to record this video in a consolidated amount of time because I want to be mindful of everybody's energy, and also because I could talk about this topic for a long time, but I want to make sure I deliver this in a healthy way, in a way that's digestible. I was going to write an email, but I kind of felt like this was a little bit more appropriate. So I just finished my morning routine and I want to talk to you about something. So if you're getting this video, you are right now a one-on-one client or you are a client in my mastermind. And something I always remind my students of is that I believe that my journey of being a coach, a mentor, a guide, has these moments where I'm learning new things about my own journey of that path. And then I have to really prioritize and find the spectrum of well, how do I share this? And how do I share this in a healthy way? And do I even share this? Over the last year, I've noticed some very profound patterns among clients who are making very big investments in themselves. And these are patterns that I exhibited in my own business over many, many, many years. And this particular year kind of came to this head. I thought it was me for a minute. Am I, sometimes we think as a coach, am I attracting the same people? This is weird. Maybe this is a mirror for me. And it was, and we'll talk about that. But all to say that these patterns that I've seen manifest, that you may have or not have, I think we all have aspects of what I'm about to share. They exist among the entire industry. And I've talked to many of my friends and other facilitators and coaches and guides in this space, whether I'm doing this work in the ayahuasca realm or I'm doing this work one-to-one in coaching, or in mastermind energy. It seems like whenever there's this big decision to change and this big decision to grow, and we invest in that choice, we're stepping into a relationship with ourselves that says, I deserve what I want, and what I want is valuable, and I am going to value it enough to prioritize it. And that is a very of light and of love decision. But whenever we make a big choice that's outside of the stretch of our capacity of love and light, all of the shadows that do not serve us come up. And those shadows can look like questioning your investment and feeling really hard on yourself that you're not showing up the way that you really actually want to, and being hard on yourself that X, Y, and Z hasn't manifested in a certain amount of time, and now you're feeling the pressure to get the most out of the last couple of months that you've had. I've seen this happen over and over and over again. And what this really is actually this illumination of stories that you have been carrying your entire life. The pressure of time, the high expectations on self, the lack of devotion to what's important to you. The universe, when you make these big decisions, will show you the parts of yourself that are not in right relationship for getting you where you want to be. And it's become such a pattern where I've felt like, okay, I need to say something about this, I need to record a video. Because especially when it comes to one-on-one work and mastermind work, you're making such a big decision, and it can really bring up those emotions very strongly, right? It's almost like the more money you spend, the deeper the shadows manifest to look at you, in your life, whether that's in your partnerships or in your body or, in your relationship with self. So anyway, what I've been moving through on the other side of the spectrum and space holding is wanting to share about boundaries as a coach and as a facilitator, because what can happen when you are in this place of holding people who are going through this process is that if you are not careful, you will take it personally and you will think, oh my gosh, this person's not getting a result, it's my fault. Oh my gosh, this person is doubting themselves, it's my fault. Oh my gosh, this person is having this pattern, it's my fault. Okay, when you are coaching and when you're guiding people, you are going to inevitably trigger people sometimes, and they will play out patterns and they will play out stories, and it can be a really hard thing to navigate. And that is why boundaries are so necessary. Now, what I have noticed in my journey of doing this for almost a decade now is that my boundaries have been porous. And I think that's healthy. I think there's a difference between hard boundaries, no boundaries, and then porous boundaries. And, porous boundaries are kind of those things where we change and we adapt and we adjust, and, we meet the needs of our clients as they come in, and we're more flexible. But even that has a spectrum, right? And I've been noticing that I needed to, as I've been growing and stretching, the universe is bringing up my own shadow for my next level, which is like, Lauren, you need better boundaries, right? Like you need to have better boundaries, because, and this is something really important to note for all of you guys, when you're holding, let's say you're holding 5 clients consistently, and you're like, I have 5 clients every month, it's this energy, it feels like it's this size, okay? Like it feels like it's this size, and I want to hold 20 clients every month, and that feels like it's this size, right? There's a stretch here in that capacity, and the understanding of that energetics and why we go from this to this, and our conceptualization of holding that amount of people, that much people, or whatever, stumbling on my words. The reason that we feel like it's from this to this is because whatever is here is already feeling heavy, right? It's already like, oh my God, this is like, I got my plate full, right? And when you are growing and you're expanding, you have a responsibility to assess the boundaries that you hold with all of your containers and adjust. So I've been doing this, right? I've noticed that in my group coaching containers, originally when I had my group coaching containers and I was receiving 10 people, 15 people, it was like, okay, I can check in with everybody, and I could see how they're doing and what's coming up for them and all this stuff. Once I got to that place of like wanting to go from 15 to 40, I realized that boundary has to change. I can't hold 40 people and give them all the same access to me the way that I was doing with 15 people, right? And then when I went from 40 to 150 people in my programs, I realized, okay, I can't answer every single question and every single thread for these group coaching programs. I have to change my boundary. Now, this is important, because when you are growing and changing and expanding, you're going to notice that you might feel some guilt or fear around altering your boundaries. I say that because I am in a season of altering my boundaries. Been reflecting on the magic that's manifested this year, right? And this is why I'm sending this video to all of you guys. This has been an incredible year, right? It has been full of abundance. It's been full of beauty. And it's also taught me so much in the most sacred way about how I have to create health. I have to create boundary adjustments before I expand. I cannot do that the opposite way, or else it wrecks me, right? And I can't get to like, it's almost like if you're going into a family dynamic that is really toxic, and you're like, I'll just figure out my boundaries when I'm there. Like, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? You have to plan them ahead of time and be prepared. So that's what I'm doing right now. And my boundaries are changing, and that can bring up some insecurity for me. And I feel like maybe you can relate, where you're like, oh, wait, but what will people think, right? What will people think? And so what I'm doing now, just to kind of circle this all in and like connect all of this in a way where like everything we're talking about is like, clicking. I have recorded a series of required videos for all of my one-on-one students, that's you, maybe, and all of my mastermind students, that's you, maybe, to watch before we ever have a call. And there is a e-guide that is 38 pages with some journal prompts for you guys to apply your own boundaries that is also required reading. This is my orientation for clients. I had a long talk with a friend of mine about this, where we realized that through our plant medicine study, the priority of orientation has been so prevalent. And When I look at the medicine work that I do in the world, the reason that students feel so safe is because there's such an extensive orientation. We are not just giving you an experience to have an outcome, we are actually teaching you how to have that experience so that you can have the outcome, right? If you're doing really, really deep work in the world, you will probably benefit from giving your students orientation to teach them, hey, this is how my containers work. These are my boundaries. These are the ways in which I operate. Maybe you've done this before with somebody else, but this is how I do it, right? And when you clearly define that, it creates a health. And even though it may feel uncomfortable, it's actually really, really good for the client because they know how you operate, how you work, what it's all about. And the other part of this with orientation is that you can kind of pre-frame and prepare people for the things that could happen, right? In my containers, there is a big thing that happens where my work triggers clients, right? And that looks like they feel like they're behind. They feel like they're not doing it right. They feel like they are maybe like shaming themselves for not showing up the way they're supposed to. All of these things are not because of my work, okay? Like my work is not responsible for being at cause for those feelings. My work is illuminating those feelings that which already exist in them, right? And some students don't understand that, right? And if you're not careful as you grow and you expand and you're having hundreds of people in your offerings, if you don't pre-frame things, you may get a student that's feeling like it's your fault and like wants to project that onto you and wants you to feel a certain way about that because they're hurt within themselves. And so they try to transfer that energy onto you to make you feel bad about something, when really actually your work is just illuminating an already existing pattern within them. Okay, so this is why I'm recording this video for you guys, where I'm inviting you to go look at those new videos about my boundaries and orientation. I know we're in the middle of our journey together. This was all created just recently. You will find it so helpful, not just for in how we operate in our time together, but also in maybe how you hold space to prepare your clients for working with you. Those videos are required to watch. They're simple, they're short, they're direct. They're in both my one-on-one portal and also the Conscious Creator Mastermind. So you can go ahead and look at those. There is a 38-page workbook. It is a actual like book, kind of like you're gonna read it for most of it, but there's some really great journal prompts at the end so that you can apply the lessons that you learn by consuming that guide to apply to your life and to your business. So I'm going to ask that all of you guys go through that, okay? Go learn and understand a little bit more about the work we're doing, and maybe it will allow you to go deeper. There are some new boundaries in place. There are some new structures in place because, like I said, I'm preparing for what's to come. And even though part of this makes me feel a concern of I'm changing the boundaries of a container in the middle of our time working together, I actually think that that should be an expanding teaching moment for you. Because no matter what relationship you are in, you should feel safe to alter your boundaries as you grow and as you change. And if someone doesn't like that, they're not a good fit for you, right? Again, what is that bringing up for them? Maybe this triggers somebody who doesn't know how to give themselves their own permission to adjust boundaries. Wherever you're at, I'm very honored to share these with you. I'm very grateful. Please dive into this content. If you're in the Conscious Creator Mastermind, it is a section right under the welcome section of your course. If you're in the one-on-one portal, you will see all those videos there listed. Both have the Sacred Boundaries Guide. Please go through that as well. And if you want to reach out to talk about any of these things, any of these logistical boundary switches and changes, I'm so here for it. Like I'm in my boundary season, and it's creating a lot of health and wellness in my nervous system. And I think that's just really important to remember too, that on this journey that you are on, you deserve to prioritize your nervous system, okay? So like make sure that when aspects of your business or relationships with clients are making you feel a certain way, that you look at that and that you adjust things to protect yourself in a sacred way. And not like, oh, I gotta protect myself from that client. Like, no, just like live good, live well for yourself, and boundaries are a way to do that. So anyway, this video was about 10 minutes long, I think, so that's perfect. Thank you guys for being here. Go into your course portals, dive into all the study, and yeah, we'll talk soon. I love you guys. Have a beautiful, magical rest of your day.